Number 15. The smell of rain. You're out for a walk and you feel it, that telltale shift in the air, a sudden, earthy sweetness, the smell of rain. We've all been there, inhaling that beautiful, crisp scent. And we've also probably been told to get inside because the smell of rain means lightning. Or worse, being struck by it. You've probably heard some old wives' tale about how the smell of rain is the universe's way of telling you that you're about to get zapped. But that delicious aroma is actually something called petrichor. It's a mix of plant oils and a bacteria called geosmin. When raindrops hit the ground, they trap tiny pockets of air. These bubbles then float upward through the rain like champagne, picking up the petrichor and carrying it into the air for your nose to enjoy. So the next time you smell rain, don't run for cover. It's not some kind of cosmic warning. It's your brain enjoying the lovely scent of wet dirt. Basically, you're just smelling a delicious concoction of happy bacteria and plant juice. Number 14. Microwaved food. Let's be honest, we've all been told that microwaved food gives you cancer, or that it robs your food of all its nutrients, or that the radiation will give you a third eye. But here's the thing. Microwaves don't use the kind of radiation that causes cancer. They use electromagnetic waves, the same kind as your Wi-Fi, radio signals, or even sunlight. They're non-ionizing, meaning they don't have enough energy to mess with your DNA. They just make water molecules in your food vibrate really fast, which creates heat. Think of it less as a tiny atomic bomb and more as a really fast, tiny vibrator for your leftovers. In fact, because microwaving is so fast, it actually does a better job of preserving nutrients than other cooking methods. So go ahead and nuke that frozen burrito. Your dinner is fine, and your DNA is still just as boring as it was before. Number 13. Sleepwalking. Imagine waking up in your kitchen at 3 a.m. with a bowl of cereal in your hands, absolutely no memory of how you got there. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, looks like something straight out of a horror movie, but it's usually just your brain trying to multitask. Your brain is a complicated place, with different parts handling different jobs. During sleepwalking, the parts of your brain that control movement and motor skills are awake and active, while the parts that handle memory and consciousness are still sound asleep. It's like your body is a car, and the engine is on, but the driver is passed out in the back seat. This is why you can walk around, open doors, and even have a conversation with a family member without any recollection of it the next day. The good news is, despite what you've seen in movies, it's actually not dangerous to wake up a sleepwalker. You might startle them, which could cause a bit of confusion or a small fall, but you won't give them a heart attack or send them into a coma. So, next time you see someone sleepwalking, you can just gently guide them back to bed. No need to scream or call an exorcist. Number 12. Swallowed gum. Let's talk about the first great lie of our childhoods. The one your mom told you, probably with a face so serious you believed it instantly. If you swallow chewing gum, it's going to stick to your insides for 7 years. 7 years. That's longer than some of your relationships. It sounds terrifying. You probably spent a solid decade wondering if that piece of Wrigley's you accidentally inhaled was slowly but surely gumming up your digestive tract, waiting to cause some kind of medical emergency. But here's the thing. Your mom was just trying to get you to stop eating gum. Your digestive system is a lot more capable than she gave it credit for. While gum isn't something your body can actually break down and absorb, it's not food, after all. It's not going to just stick around like a stubborn roommate. Your body sees it for what it is, a weird, rubbery piece of stuff. It can't digest it, so it just says, all right, you do you, and lets it pass right on through. Think of your digestive tract like a nightclub bouncer. The bouncer sees a weirdo trying to get in, but instead of fighting with them, he just lets them go out the back door. It's an efficient, if slightly unceremonious, exit. So, the next time you accidentally swallow your gum, don't panic. It won't be haunting your intestines until you get a new driver's license. Number 11. Apple seeds. We've all seen it in a movie. The sneaky villain grinding up apple seeds to make a lethal poison. It's a classic, sinister trope that has led millions of people to believe that apple seeds are a tiny, deadly bioweapon. The fear is rooted in a grain of truth. Apple seeds do contain a compound called amygdalin. which can release cyanide when metabolized. Cyanide is, in fact, incredibly dangerous. But here's where the science gets a little less dramatic and a lot more boring. For you to ingest a lethal dose of cyanide from apple seeds, you'd need to crush and consume an insane amount of them. We're talking about eating the seeds from an entire bushel of apples in one go. The seeds are also protected by a tough outer shell, which your body can't break down, so if you swallow them whole, they just pass through your system like the swallowed gum. So unless you're planning on getting a mortar and pestle and turning your next snack time into a supervillain science experiment, you're fine. The biggest danger in eating an apple is probably that you'll get a tiny piece of skin stuck between your teeth, which is a much more universal and annoying problem. Number 10. Black cats crossing your path. The world has a long and complicated history with black cats. For centuries, people believed they were omens of bad luck, the familiars of witches, or little feline harbingers of doom. You've probably felt a moment of hesitation when a black cat saunters across your path, your brain flashing a quick, superstitious "uh-oh," even if you don't believe in it. But here's the thing about that old superstition. It's just that, a superstition. The origin of the bad luck myth is a messy hodgepodge of medieval paranoia and religious zealotry. The irony is that in many other cultures, including ancient Egypt, black cats were seen as symbols of good luck and prosperity. In Scotland, a strange black cat on your porch is a sign of good fortune. So is a black cat bad luck or good luck? The answer is, it's a cat. It's just a furry, purring creature with a penchant for napping in sunbeams and batting at dust bunnies. Its color, in fact, is an evolutionary advantage. They're less likely to be adopted from shelters simply because of the ridiculous superstition surrounding them. So, the next time a black cat crosses your path, don't worry about it. The only real bad luck you're facing is a slight chance you might trip over it. Number 9. Cracking your knuckles. The next time you get that satisfying pop from your knuckles, think back to the countless times a parent or grandparent told you to stop. They probably warned you that you would get arthritis, or that your fingers would swell up and turn into gnarled, useless claws. It's a fear passed down through generations, a grim prophecy that feels strangely believable. But here's the good news. That sound is not your bones grinding against each other. It's actually just a gas bubble. Your joints are surrounded by synovial fluid, which acts as a lubricant, and this fluid contains dissolved gases like carbon dioxide. When you stretch your fingers or bend them in a certain way, you're quickly expanding the space in the joint, which causes those gases to form a bubble that then pops. Think of it like a tiny, harmless balloon popping inside your joint. The only danger you're truly facing is the silent, burning rage of the person sitting next to you. So, go ahead and crack away. Your joints are perfectly fine even if your friend's patience with you isn't. Number 8. Shaving a mole. We all have moles. They're just part of being a human. And we all have razors. They're just part of being a human who has to deal with hair. And at some point these two things have met, and you've nicked a mole while shaving. And in that terrifying split second, you probably thought, oh no, I'm going to get cancer. It's an almost universal fear, the idea that disturbing a mole can somehow turn it malignant. But here's the science that's way less dramatic than your internal monologue. The razor blade only touches the very surface layers of your skin, the epidermis and maybe the top of the dermis. The cells that can become cancerous, the melanocytes, are much deeper than a razor can reach. So while you might get a little bleed or a scab that looks a bit weird for a few days, you're not actually doing anything to the core of the mole that would cause it to turn into melanoma. The real risks of shaving a mole are a tiny infection or an ingrown hair, which are a lot less sinister than a life-threatening disease. So, while you should definitely still be careful with your razor, you don't need to worry that you're accidentally giving yourself cancer. Number 7. Holding your breath. In the heat of a sibling argument, a staring contest, or a pool game, someone has probably dared you to hold your breath for as long as you can. And you, being the highly competitive person you are, took that challenge on. You probably pushed yourself to the point of discomfort, where your chest felt tight and your head was swimming, convinced you were teetering on the edge of disaster. But here's a fun, little-known fact about your body. You can't actually hold your breath until you die. It's impossible. Your brain has an automatic override system that's a lot smarter and a lot more stubborn than you are. The urge to breathe isn't caused by a lack of oxygen, but by the buildup of carbon dioxide in your bloodstream. When that carbon dioxide level gets too high, your brain sends an irresistible involuntary signal to your diaphragm to breathe. If you somehow managed to ignore that signal, you'd simply pass out and your brain would take over, forcing you to start breathing again. It's like your brain is a helicopter parent who won't let you do something truly dangerous. Number 6. Static shock. It's happened to all of us. You're walking across a carpet, minding your own business, and you reach for a doorknob, only to get a tiny, painful, completely unexpected zap. It feels like you've been hit by a bolt of lightning, a sudden and surprising jolt of electricity that seems way too big for a simple doorknob. You probably recoil, convinced you've just been electrocuted. But here's the fun little secret behind static electricity. The voltage is incredibly high, but the current is ridiculously low. Think of it like a really bright camera flash. A camera flash puts out a huge amount of light, but you can touch the bulb without getting burned because the energy is so low. Similarly, that static shock is a huge voltage, but it's a tiny, fleeting burst of energy. You can't get hurt by it. You can't start a fire with it. All that zap is a sudden transfer of electrons from your body to the metal, and it's over in a fraction of a second. It's basically the universe's way of giving you a very aggressive high five. Number 5. Getting a tattoo. There's something primal about the fear of a needle. The idea of someone repeatedly poking you with a sharp, ink-filled piece of metal sounds less like art and more like a medical disaster. We've been told for decades that tattoos are dangerous, that they can lead to infections, blood poisoning, or worse. The fear is so ingrained that many of us still get a little nervous every time we see someone getting inked. But here's the reassuring truth. When done by a reputable, licensed professional, getting a tattoo is one of the safest things you can do. The artists of today use sterile, single-use needles and follow strict hygiene protocols that are more rigid than what you might find in some doctors' offices. The real danger isn't the needle or the ink itself, but the lack of care on the part of the artist or the person getting the tattoo. An unregulated, unhygienic tattoo shop is a genuine risk, but a clean, professional studio is as safe as getting a haircut. The most dangerous part of the whole experience is probably the awkward small talk you'll have to make for 3 hours while someone draws a tiny permanent dinosaur on your ankle. Number 4. The tornado siren. That sound is terrifying. It's an apocalyptic wail that cuts through the silence and sends a shiver down your spine. It sounds like a monster is descending upon your town, a sound so unnatural and jarring that it seems to be a danger in itself. But here's the thing about a tornado siren. The sound isn't the threat. It's the warning. It's a tool, a loud, obnoxious messenger designed to be as unnerving as possible so that you'll pay attention. The danger is the tornado, a massive, destructive force of nature. The siren is your friend, a screeching protector, desperately trying to get you to take cover. This is a brilliant and slightly ironic piece of human psychology. We've created a sound that seems incredibly dangerous, but its entire purpose is to keep you safe. So, the next time you hear that wail, don't fear the sound. Fear the wind, fear the hail, and fear the terrifying storm that's headed your way. But the siren is on your side.